Okay, let's carry on the notes needed to complete this tutorial. Let's create a new one. Of course, let's go editor, open. Same thing. We'll do it rapidly so we will get used to it. So we create a bird object now, very quickly. So pick this object, hide this object. Of course, now the particle is being displayed as dot. Go to now, you can see we need some false here. We go false, we add like minus something here. So we get it moving down. We need a collision, of course. And we pick this one, of course, because this is a particle. If this were a rigid, we just needed only nothing in order. So we could just go here, and of course we can here and say physics shape. Now this object is being converted to rigid. Of course it's going to interact with the ground or with the default ground collider, which is the 0 here. So you can see now the object is interacting without any force. But let's remove this one and keep it this way. Let's say when the collision appear, let's get shift and drag, change the color always, so you will follow your steps if the event is working properly or not. Let's go collision. When the collision occurs, let's say okay, it turns to green. Let's add here a physics. We need to switch this one to physics shape. Okay, now this is being turned to rigid, so it's going to interact. Boom. Okay, we can go to collision and fix this one. Let's say shape radius. Okay, we got this. We got some parameters for the dynamic here. You can change the bouncing and the friction and so on here. You got some values here to play with. They are just plain English. So now here we need to add the Voronoi, our Voronoi fracture. So as expected, the object is being fractured. If we need now to increase the number of fractures, we can come here and go like 20 here. So boom, the object is being fractured. Okay, if we go if we go down here, this is the Voronoi point type. So this is how you want the fracture to be. So we got random fracture, and we got on-shape surface, and we got cloud, of course. And the most important is we can add a texture, black and white, to force the fracture in one place. If we add a texture being like white here and black, we can have this object to be fractured in the middle, just in the middle. We can maybe, let's try it. Of course, I like to give more as information as much as I can. General, let's go for a gradient. Maybe let's go for a gradient ramp, or just gradient. Okay, we need any material here. Let's add standard, maybe skyline standard. Let's get okay, diffuse color. Of course, we can't add the material to this one. We need to unhide the object. Of course, let's disable type flow so we can see the object. It is being here, and let's add this here, and let's say show shaded material in viewport, and let's play with the gradient. Not the way I want it, so let's go for ramp here. Map, general, ramp, gradient ramp, diffuse, double click, and let's play with things here. Maybe let's put this is black here, and this is black. Let's add maybe black, some black, maybe like this. Of course, I need another one. Maybe double click, just keep black here. So not the way I want it here. Gradient type, let's go for box. Nope, let's go for radial. Maybe we're getting somewhere here. The size there, this is the size of the noise, is not helping. Let's go for the offset maybe. Yeah, let's change it to something like this. Let's play with the gradient. of course it's not helping. We got something like this. Of course, let's click and drag in empty space in order. Let's move this one so we can get a nice gradient, maybe something very close to this. Of course, we got something like this. So we need the fracture to be here and not in other places. So we got our map. Of course, let's hide now the object and let's enable our tile flow. Okay, get me the map. Let's go for Voronoi and let's drag this map and put it here and say instance, of course. Okay, on shape by texture, let's go back and let's press F4 and see the Voronoi if it worked or not. I think not. If we switch to cloud, you can see maybe if we increase a bit the fractures. Let's go. You can see now that is going to be fractured along the map. Okay, you can see now the fracture is the map. Of course, is not very accurate, but you can see here if we increase to 2000. Of course, you need to go slowly on this one because you risk to get your program to shut down. So you can see now that the fractures is going to follow the map user. Okay, you can just add the UV map on your real object and draw any map you want on Photoshop or anything. You can use the canvas drawing here. You can use the viewport canvas to draw here to create your map. You can do anything and you can go using whatever. This is very handful if you want to use it. Let's go back to cloud and let's reduce this one to, let's go to 1000 here. Okay, here you got the scale of, if you like to create wood or something, you need to play with the scale. For example, if you want like wood, we just go with this scale. Let's go with this scale, maybe like this one also. So you play with this scale in order to create something very interesting, or the way you need to get. This is where the parameters you need to play with, and also you need to play with the normal. Of course, this is the same thing. You can create wood. Of course, if we go like up here, maybe this is going to look like wood and not like anything else. So you can see it doesn't look like wood, but it does look like a watermelon or so. Or like ships. You can see very cool and very regular, which is very handy. You can create a lot of things using this method. Of course, because the X is 0, so we got a nice fracture. Of course, I'm moving until the event. The event must occur in order to get to event 2, okay? So the event 2 is starting from 18 when the collision occurs, okay? So this is the fractures that we are getting, which is very good. Let's go 1, 1, 1, 1, okay? And you can go to fractures, which is very cool also. Cap holes, if you don't use it, the holes is not being capped, so we get like empty inside. Cap holes is going to create the volume inside, which is very useful. And you can also override the cap matte. So if you need to add a texture inside and not on the outside, on the inside, you can give it a material ID of anything to here. So let's put a color on this one. So the exterior is going to be like red. Let's add a material. Let's press M. Okay, let's create a material, another material, or let's use this one. Okay, a simple material. Let's create this one. Let's put it like okay, shift and drag, create the second one, double click. Let's get this one is like orange and say inner, and this is, let's say, outer, maybe like okay. inner and outer. We need the material, some material. The first one is 1, and let's say this one, we said 2. Okay, let's put 10. So we need to be more careful. So if you plug this one into, it's not going to work. Let's go to set number, and we have only 2. So the first ID is 1, the second ID is 10, not 2 here, because we have set it manually. Okay, let's go to just drag this one and put it on this one. Okay, let's F4. So the first ID is not working. Why? So the second ID is working, but the first ID is not. Okay. So we go to range inside. Let's okay, where is the material? Let's go for material here. This is 1. I think 1 should work. Not working, don't know why. Okay. Okay, let's not let's skip this one for now. I don't want to waste your time trying to troubleshoot the problem, but this is the way you need. We'll talk about this later. So this is the way you need if you want to add any texture here. So okay, I don't want to talk because we have here material ID, mapping instance. You can put it here and drag your material, but it's okay. Let's continue with the Voronoi here. Okay, that's material. It's being black because let's go for 20. Let's play smart. I always like to play smart here. It's not working, so the ID material is not being set. Of course, you can go and hide all. Of course, I can't resist. Let's add editable poly, maybe. Editable poly. Okay. Let's convert this object to a poly. Okay. Let's add this one. And let's go to material ID. And set ID to 1. Now hide this object, of course. Sorry, I couldn't resist. I couldn't resist to solve the problem. Okay. I wish I wasn't too fast, because for me that was just trying to solve the problem here. So we need only this 2 here. Okay. Okay, just keep it clean. So I needed a material ID on the first object, so I have just an head. So I went here, converted the object to poly, and gave it an ID which was 1, or you can set any number. And the second ID was using here, and said, scroll down here and go for fracture and give it any ID here. You go here and you create multi-sub objects, and you create 2 or any number you need, and you set your object. We can just change, let's change the material to yellow maybe. Okay, hide this object. So we got here. So we got this object. Now what we want, let's reduce the number so our computer is not going to slow down. Let's go for 80. So we got 80 fracture. Now we want to add more details to our fracture. Look, our fracture is not being so beautiful. It is looking ugly here. We can come here and add a subdivide. Subdivide, if we press F4, if we remove, you can see it's going to add a bit of geometry to the whole object. The lower, the most, or it's going to add more geometry. You need to go slowly. Let's try with 3. Okay, 2, 1. Okay, we are getting something. 0.5. I think I will stick with 0.5 here. If we press F4, of course, we can see the difference. Nothing is happening, but we got more geo to work with. Now we can add a displacement. We got a displace here to affect the geometry. So we need a map. a black and white map, we can come, or we can just go here and use the noise, of course. So the same thing, if you want to add a texture, a noise texture, you just black and white, or you can come here and create a noise. So you change the scale 0.5 maybe, you make it smaller, so the noise, the roughness, and you got the iteration. Okay. Now, but the problem that you can see here, it looks like popcorn now, that the exterior is being affected. Of course, if you go back before, so it's just that you can see the exterior is being affected. We want only to affect the interior. We can do it here. Enable MaterID filter, and let's set it to 10. To 10, which is the interior that we have set here. Okay, the 10. So the displacement is only going to affect the material ID 10, which is the interior in this. So we got a more detailed fracture. Of course, it doesn't look that good because we need to go to subdivide and go lower. Let's go to 5. We are getting something, 0.1. Of course, we are getting a lot of geometry here. Be careful. Let's go now to displace, and you can play with the noise. Let's go, the strength is too high. Let's go 0.5. Okay, the scale maybe we need to increase it now. Let's go to 1. Let's go to 2. Of course, it's working the opposite way I'm imagining. Let's reduce this one, 0.1 here. Of course, we are getting some details here. We are getting more details to our fracturing here. Okay. Now, if we want to generate more fractures from the fracture, of course you are saying what? What are you saying? I'm saying if I want to generate, like here, more fractures from each fracture. Of course we got here. So we can go here and get another display. Not display. Okay, let's go here. Of course, we get nothing. Of course, we got nothing here. We could just bring this and put it here. So it's going to be activated after the fracture. Okay. Now we need here, in order to create fractures from another fracture or to create particles from particles, we need to use spawn. Of course, you need to go easy with this one. Okay, let's reduce, or we can just drag this one, drag it and put it here. Of course, we need first, let's go here and try to say small dots. Okay, so we'll see if this event is working or not. So boom is going to turn to small dots, which is we are here in this event. So we can come here and let's choose another color. Of course, because this is instance, they may make unique. So let's make this red, and this is orange. Drag and drop. Let's see if it is working. You can see now. Of course, why I'm doing this, so I make sure that this event is working. So we got red generating some particles here. Let's make another Blitten's color, maybe like, okay. So we got now this color. So the spawn is generating one spawn for the whole object. which is 100% for the whole fractures. So we come here and let's put it to geo. So boom, we are getting spawns like I can see them like this one. You can see now, if we increase the spawn like to 2, we are getting 2 spawns for every geo. Okay, be careful. So we are getting 2 spawns for every geo. If we come here and let's display this one as geometry, you are going to see geometry. Of course, you can distinguish between them. So one trick, you come here or you stay here and let's add a scale. And scale. Inherit previous, let's put 15. 50. Of course, now you are seeing a small fractures. We can even go lower. 20. So the fractures are becoming small. Okay, so we got boom, we got some fractures. Or you can just turn off the scale and go to spawn. And here you got a lot of options that you can work with. Okay, so all these steps that I have shown here is to make sure that the event is working properly all the way you intended it to be. Okay, it's not like going in the dark. This is how to debug your work. You can see it in this way. So you are not in the dark. So you have to manipulate every step you're doing. This is why I have added here scale and then going back and forth. So we can make sure that it's working. Okay, so this is generating two spawns or 2 pieces from each piece that being fractured from the Voronoi. So the Voronoi create, let's disable this one. So the Voronoi created 80 pieces. So we are generating 2 pieces from the ADs. Just make sure it's going to be a lot of pieces, okay? So 2 from every piece is going to be double, okay? So this is 2. You can go like 5. Of course, it's going to create 5 pieces from the AD piece. From the 80 pieces, okay? It's going to be a lot of fractures. Of course, why they are being so separated, it is due to physics, because they are interacting with each other. This is why they are so getting in volume here. So we go back to spawn. So we got 5 pieces from the fractures, which are the Voronoi fractures, which are 80. Okay, this is a lot. Of course, you need to go slow on this. You can use this method. When you say the spawn, you reduce the scale, or you can come here and navigate to inherited properties, which are velocity, spin, and scale, which is important because the fractures inherited the speed of their parent. Of course, sometimes you need to increase this one because they are small, they need to travel faster. Maybe let's go 120. So they are going to travel faster than the larger one. So variation, we can go maybe like 15% of variation. This scale, I like to reduce the scale. 80%, let's go like 50% here. So we got the pieces, the small pieces that we wanted here. Of course, you can see now the pieces are inheriting the displays and the subdiv. Okay, I'm repeating myself a lot, but this is very important. Make sure that you are not going too far from your hardware, because a lot of pieces are going in. You need to increase just step by step, one by one, because you need to make sure you are not using all your memory here. Okay, it's going to consume a lot of memory if you increase the pieces. Okay, I don't want your computer to freeze every time you try, so go step by step. Or even if you don't want the small pieces inheriting the subdiv, you may just bring this here. Okay, Of course, this is the problem because we are going directly from the fracture. Maybe if we go this, it's not going to work because we are going from the fracture directly to this event, so these are not being taken in consideration. Okay, we can find a workaround by using a time here. Let's say I want this to be here. Let's say well, the event is like this one, 18. Let's say 18. Okay, I want to work around, so let's delete this one. Okay, delete this one. Okay, let's use a time test here, and let's plug this one here. Okay, let's press escape. It's starting to compute frame. It was like I don't know. Let's go disable. It was 18. Okay, I think 18. 18 frame 18. Variation no. So let's go 17. So greater than 17, which is 18. Now enable this one. So let's say you can see now that even though the displays and subdiv are being inherited, which is too much. Okay, which is too much. So like this workaround didn't work. We could find another way. I don't want to go too deep in this how to troubleshoot, but let's forget about this one. Okay, or just leave it this way. Let's go now to spawn, and you can go to scale, and maybe let's go like 20. So we get the small pieces. Okay, so it's going to be fractured, boom, and small pieces are going to be fractured. At the moment I want to display the subdiv and the displays because you can hear that the fans are starting to. So we got, now let's go here and let's go down and let's make this to 50%. Okay, so the scale is 50% inherited from the Voronoi fracture. So I need to reduce maybe this to 2. Okay, so we got these pieces. Okay, now I want also to generate a spawn from the spawn. We can just come here and create another spawn. So these small pieces are, so these 2 small pieces are going to generate small pieces as well. Let's go for 3. Of course, go easy on this one. Let's go from this spawn and go inherit it and make it small. Like this is 100% inherited from this, which is 50% of this. Okay, 100% inherited from, so this is 50% of the real size. We can come here and go way down. Let's go to 50%. So we get, oh, let's go like 20%. So we get very small pieces. Of course, here you need to go maybe more than 3. You can go to 6 or so to get the desired result you are looking for. Of course, here I need to talk about another very important. You can use, speed and force and noise. All of those are very simple to use, which are included under force. So if we go here to force, we can add the force. We got here gravity. We can add a bit of gravity to affect more. Let's see. Of course, it is computing here because now we have a lot of pieces, so it requires some time. Okay. So we need, in order, I want to distribute these pieces even not in a regular way. So we got to add built-in wind. You can add the wind or you can add the noise here and give it some strength like 1. So these pieces are going to be distributed. Okay, you can work with this one. So in order to see which pieces are in which event, you can just disable and enable them. So those pieces are for this event and so on. And here, so we got the force, which includes, the gravity, the wind, a noise, another noise, and you can play with the velocity, with the spin, and you got a lot of options here to play with. Here, the most important is the slow. We have another one which is called slow. So in order to slow things, let's see now. So actually you can see it is so I want, let's say I want those pieces to slow down, those pieces, the flying piece, to go a bit slower. So we got here, let's put this one here and replace the force. Let's go for slow. We got slow speed. So the whole speed is going to be slowed by 5%. We can go for higher to see the effect. So 50%. Boom. So the speed of the last event is being slowed by 50%. You can see they are going now slow, very slow, which is not what I need. Maybe I need to move it like to these pieces. I need the smallest pieces to move the fastest. So we go like here, and let's see. Of course, you can see that it's working. 50% is good. So with this method, you can create the explosion of the Oreo model.